Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, Tarot Tuesday, or Tea and Tarot Tuesday. So I'm going to pick a card of the day, but it's a bit wonky, I think. But what I also wanted to do, I'm going to try and do something different each day on this now, with a different theme. So as it's Tuesday, we're going to call it Tarot Tuesday. I'm just going to give you a little bit of explain some of the cards actually that some people find a little bit difficult. Now the first card, this isn't the card for the day, I should do that afterwards. Morning Louise, the first card that people find difficult is the Three of Swords. It's not the best looking card, and when people get this card in a reading they instantly sort of go, uh-oh. So as a reader, it's your the way you deliver to be able to, hi Rebecca, to be able to make this card a helping card in some way, and so that it doesn't scare people. So with every single card it's got a negative and a positive aspect. Some of the cards are better reversed, some tarot readers read reverse, some don't, I do. And with each card, morning Kelly, with each card you've got the chance, you've got free will around it, and you've got the chance to make some action so that it either weakens if it is a difficult card, or it strengthens if it's a positive card. So with the morning Amber, with the Three of Swords, it does talk about loss, heartache, sadness, a lot of emotional things. Depending on what other cards come in with it, it can talk about operations or blood tests, and that's where you start to use your clairsentient or your clairvoyance, because you'll start to see different connections around it, or your psychic energy there. What this card indicates is that if there are troubles going around you at the moment, and we all have to go through the bad, it can't all be rosy every time, but you can always put the positive spin on it, if you like, or positive connection to it. So if you find that you have a Three of Swords in your spread and you're not too sure how to say it, it's no good saying to someone, oh my God, it's going to be terrible, you're going to have heartache, you're going to have, loss here, see you later, bye. They're going to go out the door thinking, oh my God, what's happening next? What you want to encourage them is to release all of that. So then it becomes reversed. Oh, sorry, my cat's got out of the way. Then it becomes reversed. Once you release this, once you let go of any hurt, any pain, once you let the tears go, then all of these swords can then fall out, which allow the gap and the holes to heal. So the positive aspect of this is, yes, they might have to go through something difficult. They might have to go through some pain, some loss. It can come as a warning, as a health card. Morning, Danielle. It can come as a warning, as a health card. So if it is a warning, then they need to look after themselves. So you can encourage them to do that. You've got to be careful that you don't give counselling unless you're a fully trained counsellor. You've got to be careful that you don't give too much health advice, because unless you're a qualified doctor as well, which I'm not. So when I get this card, morning Katrina, I would encourage them to acknowledge the hurt, go through it, and then start to release it. Don't hold it, let it go so that it can start to heal itself. Now, if you're talking about a work situation or a relationship situation and they want to see how it's going to pan out, and you have this as the ending, that's not a great sign, So you might not want to say to them, well, don't do the relationship, but you would want to say to them, just be careful, because there could be some emotional hurt towards the end or within the relationship somewhere. Now, it's not always going to be sure that that relationship is going to fail. It could be that there's another emotional hurt. Maybe they've got things they need to go through that you'll end up working through with them. Because they've got free will, because destiny connects into this, they may have to still go through that relationship. So if you're telling them, no, don't do it, then they'll still have to go through something where they have to, their soul has to still learn and still go through the pain. So they might come off course with your advice, but there would be something else that would come up. So because once the card is set, for me, the cards are set, but the situations can change with your free will around it. And I've had that personal experience with a situation. Some of you know about, I've shared it with a few of you. I went away, I did some cards, I was going away to quite a dodgy place, and morning Tony, and I did my cards before I went. I was going to Naples, and everyone said to me, oh, it's really dangerous, don't go out at night, it's just be careful. So I did my cards, and yeah, I did have the sneaky card, I had the stealing card, I had the watch your back, I had some difficult cards, but I had the chariot as my outcome, so I knew I'd come home safe. So I went and I didn't go out at night, and I packed my bag carefully. I had my bag in front of me everywhere I went. And when I came home, I thought, that's strange, because my feeling with the card is that it's going to come about one way. And what I found out was that my husband at the time was actually stealing from me and lying to me hugely, deceiving me. So I still went through that, but in a slightly different way to what I first thought. So I feel that the destiny you still part of that has to go through whatever it is, changes, emotions, but with your free will you can change however you go about doing that. So just be warned, or be careful, that for me, when I do a reading, the cards would still be set. 1 minute. But what I'm getting back to is, if we have got to go through things for our soul to grow, there's always a positive. So just go through it, accept it, acknowledge it, go through it. So this is one of the first difficult cards. The other difficult card can be the Tower. I'm just trying to find... Ollie, can you turn that down, please? I'm trying to find the Tower card. You know what the Tower card looks like. While I'm finding it, I'll start. So the Tower card looks quite scary again, and it's about upheaval, it's about chaos, and your foundations, morning Trudy, your foundations being a little bit rocked. Now again, when you go through this, you might find it uncomfortable, you might find it a bit painful. It can simply be a house move though, when you get chaos and you move house. It doesn't have to be too dramatic with it, or too traumatising with it. The positive of it is, whatever you go through, you will have a silver lining with it. So you will be able to rebuild something again, you will be able to rebuild your foundations. Something more positive will come from this. Thank you for the hearts. If, depending on what star sign you are, I hate change. I'm a typical Taurus. I like everything to stay normal. But some people find it easier to go through change than others. So this card might have a weaker effect depending on what your personality is, depending on what your star sign is. But again, it's not something that you need to be fearful of. It's something that's saying your foundation is rocked. Something isn't right. So you need to go through that change. It could come as a bit of a shock. It could come as a bit... Hi, Hazel. It could come as a bit of out the blue, and not something that you're expecting there, but you've got to work through it. You've got to be able to rebuild whatever it is. And sometimes if we don't make the changes ourselves, then the universe does it for us. And that's where this card comes in, that they would say, do you know what, we've given you lots of options, we've told you to move out of that situation, and you still haven't, so now we're going to make things really uncomfortable for you so that you do some action. That's my way of thinking. So the Tower card is about sudden change, but something that you can rebuild on. The other negative card, again, you get the Devil. So this card is about being controlled and having restrictions put upon you. There could be temptations down different pathways. There could be things that aren't just going brilliantly around yourself. So what this card, the positive on this, if you notice the chains aren't fixed around their neck. So once it becomes reversed, which is their free will, they can do that, then the chains can loosely come off and they can be free. They don't have to be bound by it. Anything to do with obsessions, it could be over-obsession about a person, about a job, about money, anything that's consuming your mind can be wrapped up in this card. But if it is in your mind, you've created it, so then you can take control of that and let that release. So you need to be, when you're doing a reading for somebody, you need to be aware of the positive and not scare people with it. And then the last one I'm going to leave on before we do the card of the day is obviously the Death card, which scares people. But more and more people are starting to realise that the Death card isn't a death in a person. I think the word's got out there now that it doesn't always have to be that. Sometimes it can, and again it will depend on other influences of the cards and your feeling connected to it. But you have to be careful about predicting death, and you have to be careful about saying things that are going to be damaging to people here. And I've cleaned up readings, some of you know who from. I've cleaned up readings where a certain person has said some terrible things, totally incorrect, and scared people, and got it really wrong as well. Told them that their husbands are having affairs when they're not, told them that certain people are going to die in their family, given them dates, and it's not come about. That's not helping, that's not what readings are about. If you've got someone around you that's on their last legs and you're aware of it, then you may see that and it may connect to that. But within the reading, somehow that would come out in a softer way, or in a way that's going to be able to help. The whole point of readings is help him and give him guidance, not making you feel like you want to throw yourself off a bridge. So the Death card is usually connected to endings. It could be the end of a situation, it could be the end of a worry, it could be the end of a job, the end of a relationship, but you've got the sun in the background. So as always, with one door closing, one door will open. So the positive influence on the Death card will be that yes, something's coming to an end, usually a natural end, but that there will be a new dawn, that there will be something possible where a new door is opening that you can start to go through that. Okay, so they don't have to be scary, these negative cards. The guidance that comes from a good reader should be able to help you see it in a positive way. Alright, so hopefully that just clears up a few misunderstandings with some of the scarier cards there. So now we're going to pick a card of the day. I'm actually going to use my animal tarot for this. What have we got here? Ego. Okay. It's the Siamese cat. Okay, now this card actually represents the devil. So again, in different decks, it can be something totally different, and that's not going to scare you, is it? So if I'm doing a reading for somebody who's a little bit sensitive, or who is between the ages of 16 and 18 with a parent present, I will use one of the angel tarot or one of the animal tarot just to soften it there, because at that age they're very strongly influenced. So this card with the ego, I mean, I'll read what it says. I've explained what the devil card says. This is the card of the day. You may feel that you're trapped in your situation, but that's not true. Be careful not to overly focus upon material wealth and break free of negative thinking. So that's put in a much more positive way than what somebody with the devil card could get. What it's indicating, so we're using it as the card of today, so it's indicating that break yourself free from anything that is trapping you. Try not to over-focus on something that's holding you back. Try not to be too depressive about a situation. Look at that cup half full. See where you can break free from something. If you're being controlled, whether it's through money, whether it's through health, whether it's through relationships, you'll have free will. You'll have the choice to be able to come out of that and using a positive mindset and maybe seeing outside the box, maybe seeing things slightly in a different way, and taking yourself out of the situation and giving yourself advice that you would give a friend. You can break free from those chains and break out of it there. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes it's not going to be an overnight thing. Sometimes it will be a couple of weeks. But you know, you can start today. If that resonates with you today, where you're being trapped, where you're being controlled, then start to use that law of attraction to unblock yourself, untrap yourself. I'm going to do a little talk this week, one of the days, on the law of attraction on the cards as well. But yeah, so try not to let something get you down or make you feel trapped today. Just know that you've always got options there. And if you're thinking everything's going wrong for me, I can't do this, then you're obviously going to be attracting that type of morning care, that type of energy. So just try switching your mindset into thinking a little bit more positive. Even if things are really, really difficult for you, there's always some hope around you, you know. But don't let things get you down today. Look at things outside the box and try and break free from things that are holding you back. All right, hope that makes sense, and have a good day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow morning.